Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports. Today I wish to talk to you about pedal mechanics and why I choose one pedal system over another and what I personally use for my own, personal use. And it comes about because about a month ago, I had a customer that I had to do some work on her bike, and it was a hydraulic brake system. I had to order the parts from SRAM, and they're somewhere in Chicago, Indianapolis, I don't know, somewhere out there, and we're in Southern California, so at least 4 to 5 business days plus the time in which it takes them to process the order. And so I said, hey, so you don't miss any riding opportunity. We had some inclement weather and we had some nice weather. So it was kind of like, now the weather is bad. Now the weather is good, but my bike is down, right? So I said, hey, you know what? We're fairly close in physical height. Our body proportions are different, but I think you can I think I can lend you one of my bikes and you can use it as a loaner for a couple of days, 3 days. So she agreed to that. Fine. Transfer over her pedals to my bike. And I've been riding with her other times, and I had noticed that especially on the right leg, this being her toe and the bike going in that direction, her foot was like this as she pedaled. And I knew she had a bad crash, and I knew that maybe the pedal mechanics were not as fluid or not as, I don't know how to describe it, but I knew that they were off. And I get the bike back from this loaner time frame, and I see scratches on the crank arm, on the spider portion crank arm, because it's the right side, the drive side. And I'm like, I knew she had kind of a weird pedaling style. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be offensive, but it was a weird pedaling style. And so I was like, I looked at her bike here that was in the stand, and I saw the same scratches on the crank arm. And the bike she rode, my personal bike that she rode was a steel bike. So the chainstays have a little bit different angle to them. You don't need to have these big, wide, fat chainstays when you ride steel bikes. And so her carbon chainstays, which flared out more, also was scratched on the right side. So now you had the crank arm and you had the chainstay scratched. And then I asked her to take a look at her other bike, and it was scratched as well. I then asked, why are you riding these pedals? Why are you riding these speed plate pedals? And one of the things that she said, I can get in on either side. I've tried the other pedals, and everyone would take off from a stoplight and I'd still be trying to get in. But when I moved over to speed play, I was able to get it in rather quickly. I just stepped down. On a personal level, I've never found that to be true. I've tried speed plate pedals multiple times. The reps have always, when I was just a sales guy or just a fitter in a shop, they'd always give me stuff to demo or to ride and stuff. And, now as a business owner, I don't get anything and they want me to buy it. But I would ride them for a few weeks, and I was like, what is the big whoop about these pedals? anyway, that's what was going on with her pedaling mechanics. And I said, you know, if you try a higher end set of pedals, maybe, you know, the lower end set of pedals, the bearings weren't so good, you know, because they're always going to hang down and you just slide your foot across the top of the pedal and snap in. But long term, what my strategy was that I wanted her to get a power meter, because she's a very strong cyclist, and I think just with anything else, if you know what you're doing, you'll do it longer and better, or you'll prevent yourself from blowing up or any of that other stuff. So power meters are very, very important in my opinion. I've been riding with a power meter since 2003, so I don't even know how to ride without one. So let me just show you what I meant about the damage that she caused to my frame or to my crankset. And the reason it bugged me was because this is a stainless steel bike and they no longer make this Dura-Ace 9000 crankset. It's just a minor marring there. But it also, on her carbon bikes, I mean, it was significant marring because she had these bikes for so long. And then here on the chainstay, when they flare out more, it was right there for her to cause an impact. So these are what if you don't know what a speed plate pedal is, that's what this is right here. And personally, I've never really liked these pedals. I think they have excessive amounts of float. This in particular is called the light action, and it's designed to be a lighter action to get in and out of the pedal. Anyway, but personally, it's just not been a pedal that I like. Now, over the years, I've taken a lot of people off of those pedals and moved either more towards, you know, a look style pedal like this, or a Shimano pedal like this. This is a Dura-Ace pedal where I just find that the larger platform, the ability to, you know, and these pedals always hang down. So I never really understood the dual-sided entry marketing claims from Speedplay. So I don't know, but I've moved many people over the years from the Speedplay pedals. A lot of customers have complained about, oh, I got a knee pain, I've got this pain, I got a hip pain, I got something, lower extremity issues, and I switch them out of these pedals, and this is a finger quote thing, I restrict the amount of float. And like, let's say, for example, on a Shimano pedal, the max, so on a Shimano pedal, you replace the cleats, or the cleats that you use on the bottom of your shoe determine how much float. So their max float is 6, next one is 2 degrees, and the last is 0. And then on the look style pedals, they are 9 degrees of float, 4.5 degrees of float, and then 0. I've been riding 0 float pedals for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. I do a lot of volume. I do a lot of climbing. I do a lot of stuff. I've never, ever had knee pain or wrist, hip pain or anything lower extremity that I can see why the marketing claims of, oh, yes, you need float because it'll do this and that for your knees and it's so great and it's this and that. Personally, I don't believe any of that. And I've taken people off of Speedplay pedals over the years, many, and they've been much happier. So now, let's go back to this customer. We took her off of these Speedplay pedals. We put her on the Asioma power meter pedals, and now, you know, which is basically a look format. And now she's riding with power, and you know, we're at 9 degrees of float. instead of whatever this is, 15, 20 degrees. And she doesn't even miss it. And now her foot is tracking straight, right? Knee over the toe and tracking straight like this. The next thing we're going to do is possibly put her on a 4.5 degree cleat, because I just think float is completely overrated and not necessary. I ride a fixed cleat. A lot of my gang of people that ride with me, they're now riding fixed cleats as well. Zero float, and they feel more connected to the pedal, and they feel more. They feel like they're not wasting any power, any energy. Now, if you ride speed plate pedals, if you ride 9 degrees look cleats, or if you ride 6 degree of float Shimano cleats, make a comment down below. Convince me that float is where it's at. Convince me that float is better and more float is more better, right? That's not proper English, but you get the idea. Convince me, because I don't believe that. That's it for today. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you up the road.